It's time! And now, introducing your host, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, by way of Boston, Massachusetts, presenting live
the Bostonian versus the Book. Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus the Book.
Here he is, Matt Perrault!
Enjoy the show, enjoy the show, enjoy the show, enjoy the show.
What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Thursday afternoon, Thursday morning episode, depending on where you are in this great country, edition of the Bostonian versus the Book. My name is Matt Perrault. We are live on our YouTube channel and our X at Boston versus the Book is the handle there. We are replayed on Sports Grid Television every night, 10 p.m. Pacific time for that. And we are audio available anywhere you guys get audio podcasts. Today on the program, Jeff Sherman from the SuperBook going to come on by. We're going to talk football, fighting, and some basketball. We'll get into UFC 234. The press conference will be today. I am going to make every effort to get over to that. I got some things going on in the afternoon, and then hopefully to get over to T-Mobile Arena for the press conference. There is some heat for this card, and I'm liking it. I'm seeing it. We did it yesterday when we talked to Brendan Fitzgerald about what's going on in the buildup for UFC 324 on Paramount Plus. And the fact that it does not have a co-main that we're used to, but the Sean O'Malley stuff is starting to kick up. He's fighting Song Yadong in the co-main now, so that's picking up some steam. We obviously have football. Opening line will feature a look at the Exacta market and whether or not it's better to bet that than it is to bet the future market in terms of who wins the Super Bowl, in case you have not gotten already into that conversation. Jeff will jump in at about 10:15 Pacific time, 1:15 Eastern if you're watching live. If you're on the replay, obviously about 15 minutes into the show, Jeff Sherman will jump on in. And then we will get to a little conversation about the MVP. We've not spent a ton of time talking about that, but we have the 5 finalists for the MVP and the finalists for the Coach of the Year award. We're going to jump down the rabbit hole with Rabbet about that and take a look at what the markets are currently reflecting and whether there's any value in that. Most books have pulled it down. I was efforting trying to find some markets this morning, and there's not a lot of books that have it up. So that does give you a peer-to-peer opportunity with an app like Rabbet, because if you think Drake May is going to win it or you think Matthew Stafford's going to win it, you can make your own number and you can make your own odds. You can put it up and say, all right, I want to put up X number of dollars at this odds for this market to see who's going to jump in. Because the books, now that we have the finalists, there's people in the world that know how many votes each guy got. That's how they got the finalists. So that's why the books pull it down, because they know there's insider trading potential with somebody somewhere who knows who won the MVP already, because the voting has concluded. So once we get to this point, the NFL knows who wins. It's just they're going to announce it at the award ceremony, right at the Super Bowl on Thursday night of the week of the Super Bowl. I believe that's when they make that's the quote NFL honors. That's when that event happens. So that's why there's no odds that are up. So if you have a good feel for who is going to win the MVP, that's why peer-to-peer marketplaces exist. So you can use Rabbet. So we're going to jump down the rabbit hole coming up there with that. We are really going to be full today and tomorrow. I know I told you Adam Bjorn would join us today, but Adam had a flight problem, which, I mean, look at the guy flies all over the globe. He had a flight change. He's in the air currently. So he sent me a message last night. He was like, I'm really sorry, but they changed my flight. I don't know where he is. I think he's coming back from Barcelona. So I think he's coming back to the United States. And I think he will be here in Michigan, I think. It's where I'm going to guess tomorrow. So there is no more fights on Friday because college football is over. So it'll be a Bet Chris Arizona Friday before the conference championship games happening tomorrow. So in case you're like, Matt, it's Thursday, where's Adam? Well, that's why, because he's traveling. He's in the air currently. So we got a chance to talk to Jeff Sherman from the SuperBook here in Vegas. We will do that coming up here in about 15 minutes. Let's start the show like we do every day, talking opening line and the Exacta markets for the games on Sunday. All right, let's take a look at this. Will we find more value coming in and betting on the NFL Exacta market for the Super Bowl than we will on an NFL future? This is a fun little exercise to go through and take a look at the numbers, and we're going to use BetCris Arizona numbers. You can find other books. Every book's got this, where they have the Exacta prices. Now, just to kind of set the stage as to where we are, let's take a look at it from a numbers perspective. Like, where are we numbers-wise in the futures market? Now, again, these are BetCris Arizona numbers, but the Seahawks are the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl at plus 138. The Rams at plus 230. The Patriots at plus 269. And the Broncos come in at 10-1. Now, right out of the gate, you would look at that and go, if you believe in Jarrett Stidham, if you think Jarrett Stidham is a good quarterback who can lead this team to a championship, who can ride the defense and pull, what we've seen in past iterations of playoff teams, just ride the defense. That 10-1 ticket on the Broncos to win it all is not bad, right? But in reality, like the winner of the NFC Championship game, what this is telling us is that the books believe that the winner of the NFC Championship game will win the Super Bowl, that either team coming out of the AFC, Patriots or the Broncos, are both going to be at a pretty big disadvantage. I find that kind of hard to argue. Like, I find that hard to push back on, simply because we have seen it in the past where, the power of one conference has been so dominant over the other conference that we go, all right, that's the champion. Whoever comes out of that side of the bracket is going to be the champion. And I think that that's a reality that most people agree with, that there's going to be some type of, there would need to be some type of miracle in a lot of ways for both the Patriots or the Broncos to win coming up in 2 weeks in San Francisco. All right, so if that's the case, let's take a look at the Exactas. And are there more value? Because who you think wins the AFC really does impact this market. So you have Seattle beating the Patriots as the most likely Exacta right now at BetCris Arizona. So it's plus 245. You have to get both sides right, okay? And then get the champion. But if the Seahawks are playing the Patriots, if that's what you think happens, there is no way the Seahawks are going to be a plus 245 dog on the money line for the Super Bowl. Equally, if you like the Rams to win on Sunday and beat Seattle and then the Patriots to win, that's almost 4-1. There's no way the Rams are going to be 4-1. The Rams are going to be favored over the Patriots if they play each other in the Super Bowl. And then we start getting into some really big numbers. If you like the Broncos, Seahawks over Broncos is nearly 5-1. Rams over Broncos is nearly 7-1. Broncos, if you like them to win the Super Bowl, now we're talking about some pretty long shot tickets, 16-1 on both over the Seahawks or the Rams. But if you like the Patriots to win the Super Bowl and beat the Seahawks and or beat the Rams, it's 4.5 and 5.5 to 1. This is what makes these markets a lot of fun, because these markets, you can find a way to get value if you want to make some predictions and some guesses right now. You're guessing 2 wins, not 1. That's why the odds are what the odds are, because you have to be right 2 times, not 1 time. But would you rather put a unit down on either the Rams and the Seahawks at plus 138 or plus 230, put 1 unit down on each of that? Or would you rather go to the Exacta and go to the Patriots if you think the Patriots are going to win on Sunday and it's plus 245 and plus 359? Your ROI is way better by going to the Exacta market. Again, that's if the Patriots win. Okay. If you don't think the Patriots are going to win, then fine. I would understand this. But there are some numbers that would lead you to kind of go in and say that, this is the right move. Patriots are 8-0 straight up and 7-1 ATS on the road this year. They're the only road team to be straight up undefeated in the NFL, and they're the second best team against the number on the road this season. Now, they weren't playing the Denver Broncos, but they did play the Buffalo Bills on the road and beat them outright. Patriots only bettered by the Seahawks, who were 8-1 this year on the road because the Pats played 8 games on the road, and the Seahawks played 9 games on the road with the uneven schedule. It is interesting to look at that number and go, are the Patriots a better road team than they are a home team? Rest advantage, I think, is a big factor. We talked about this earlier in the week, where teams with a rest advantage are 21-7 straight up at home. The Broncos and Seahawks both played on Saturday. They have the rest advantage, and they're both at home. They're both the 1 seeds, and they both got an extra day of rest. Equally important for the Broncos because they have to get Jarrett Stidham ready, and so they are running, obviously, with a ton of things to get him prepared for the Patriots defense coming up in this game on Sunday. So they have the rest, they have some extra time, and that really has benefited teams when they're getting to be at home. I like the Seahawks to beat Rams. I know there's a lot of people that disagree with that are very much heavy on Los Angeles. I think the Rams will win this game on Sunday. I have been on the Seahawks, and again, I have hedged. I have that 14-1 ticket on the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl. I've bet back and I've hedged on that for the weekend, but I've taken Rams money line because we're getting a decent price at plus money, plus 135 or so to get the Rams on the money line to beat Seattle. But I think the Seahawks win. I think the home team plays out here. And I think the stat that I keep on coming back to is that when a team is playing in the playoffs for 3 straight road games, one of my greatest sports memories is the Patriots in 85, 86 going on the road and winning 3 road playoff games. They're the first team to ever do that, to get to the Super Bowl to play the Bears, where they got annihilated by the Bears in 85 by a score of 45-10. Teams that are in the postseason since 2003, those teams are 12-30 straight up and 9-28 when they're the dog, and the Rams are the dog. And that's a 24% cover perspective in the playoffs since 2003. So it's not a small sample size. This is hard. When you're going on the road for that 3rd road game, most teams in the NFL do not win. On top of the fact that you've got the overtime angle as well with teams in overtime. When a team goes into overtime in the postseason and they're playing the next game, they're 0-5 straight up since 2015. No one's winning this game. So I'm not saying the Rams can't win this game. I'm just saying all of the trends are going against them to go into Seattle, into an incredibly difficult place, a place where the Seahawks have won 10 straight playoff games. And the 12th man, we saw it against the 49ers, they could have a massive impact on a football game. I just think if you're looking for an exacta perspective, I think taking Seattle isn't a bad idea. So you take Seattle. Now who wins the AFC? You can bet both Seattle to beat the Patriots at plus 245 or Seattle to beat the Broncos at plus 462. That's some good value. I think there's better value in the exacta market than there is betting in the straight up market here going into these games, just because, again, you have to bet 2, you got to win 2 bets, then win 1. So you're getting much longer odds and you're getting better ROI. So that's how I'm going to be approaching this, because I have tickets already in the futures market. I have the 11-1 ticket on the Patriots to win it all. I have a 14-1 ticket on the Seahawks to win it all. So I'm not really going to get involved too much with the game itself from a numbers perspective. I think 5.5 is too heavy. I think the Patriots laying 5.5 points. I bet the Bears last week at plus 4. I'm going to bet the Broncos this week at plus 5.5. It's the same breakdown, and I told you about this before, but we're talking about 1950. Since 1950, nobody has covered on the road in the playoffs in the NFL when it's 4 or more. And maybe Jarrett Stidham turns into CJ Stroud and throws 4 picks and the Patriots dominate the game, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Sean Payton's a really good quarterback coach, and I think Sean Payton gave this guy 2 contracts for a reason. He likes him. He thinks he can do something with him. Now, does he go play as well as Bo Nix? Probably not. But as long as he holds his own, That's all he needs to do. Just don't lose the game for the Broncos. Just make sure the defense has a chance to win the game for you. That's what the Texans didn't get. CJ Stroud took away the advantage they had because their defense put them in a place to win, and the quarterback gave it away. As long as Stidham doesn't do that, Broncos are live. I mean, the Broncos are right there. They're live to win this game. And I think they're, right to be a little bit on the angry side about being 5.5-point home favorites. I mean, Sean Payton yesterday gave every Patriot fan exactly what they were looking for when he was asked, what message do you want to send to the Bronco fans? And he said, rest up. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Like, okay, we're making predictions. Like, all right, trying to give the fans, because that whole market, by a friend of mine who lives in Denver, that whole market is really concerned about Jarrett Stidham. Like, they're really mad it's not Bo Nix. They think it's a horrible break, that it's another one of these things for the Patriots where everything is falling right for them. And it's a joke about how their path, this is the Celtics all over again. When they got to banner 18, the path. Everybody keeps on talking about the path. Everyone calling them the luckiest team in football. And this is not I don't know. It's sports. Like, whether it's lucky or not, it's sports. Do you win the games that are in front of you? If the answer is yes, if you win every game, the last game you play, if you win, you're the champion. How you got there doesn't matter. It's, did you win, yes or no? So get ready. If the Patriots do win Sunday, get ready for 2 weeks of just nonstop ripping apart the Patriots numbers about how easy the path was for them to get to the Super Bowl. So look at the Exacta markets. I think it's an interesting spot to get into. All right, let's get to him. Jeff Sherman, our friend Golf Odds, joining us here on the Bostonian versus the Book once again. Jeff, how are you? Good to see you.
Good, excellent. How's it going, Matt?
It's going great. Thanks for the time. I appreciate you hopping in. All right, let's just kind of dovetail off of that a little bit. Overall, it's the playoffs. It's the Super Bowl. It's betting. Obviously, you guys are going to be extremely busy from an NFL perspective, from a handle perspective. But through your eyes, how do you view the Patriots? Like, what are the power ratings that you guys are looking at for the Patriots heading into this game on Sunday?
Well, it's been improving throughout the season, but the big thing is with May. I mean, the public loves to get behind him. And from our perspective, it's going to be much better for the Super Bowl if it's involved in the Pats and either team from the NFC. If you have Stidham in there, it's going to be a lot more difficult to sell tickets on Stidham. So, when we put this line up the night before the game, before the Patriots game, we were thinking it would be New England maybe 3 at Denver. And then as fired on game day, we were looking at opening at 4, and the market came a little bit higher than us. So we went with 4.5. You saw 5.5 start to show up. The market settled at 5.5, but then we started taking some sharp money, plus 5.5, plus 5 to get us back to 4.5, which is where we sit now. And, I still think it's a little bit high. I'm more like 3.5 range myself. And it's good. It's a tough spot there for New England to go here against, you almost have an emotional letdown knowing that the best isn't on the other side. I've seen it too many times in sports that these teams almost take it for granted. So I think it's a tough spot for New England in this case.
I agree. And the number being 5.5 being pretty heavy, obviously, in terms of history. How much does history factor into the handicap for you? The Patriots are 0-4 historically in Denver in the postseason. They never won going to Mile High.
We don't look at anything prior to like that. We just go ahead and rate these teams they are today and the expected action to come in on the game. So, we're looking at things in the moment, nothing like that.
How much teaser action are you expecting to see here? I mean, if it closes at 5.5 or 5, do you expect people to pull it down and take the Patriots?
Yeah, I expect more Patriots tease down because I'm expecting money line support on New England. We've already been seeing that. The Rams-Seahawks game is a little bit more difficult for the public to be involved with because the top 2 rated teams, a short point spread, but it's going to be a majority of New England tease down, money line parlays involving New England. And like I mentioned, if Denver were to get through and play the Rams or Seahawks, that line would be over 7. A lot of teaser action in the Super Bowl.
Okay. Whoa. I'm 48. I remember every year that was like the typical line of the Super Bowl where you had the NFC team being so heavily favored over the AFC team. What does that do to handle if the line is that high for the Super Bowl? Does that depreciate it?
It will in this case, like I mentioned, with Stidham being involved and one-sided from the public's perception on who should win the game, where if we get the Patriots against either the Rams or Seahawks, you're looking at a line about 3.5, and I think that's going to be.
Okay. What are you seeing overall from a sharp perspective with the NFC? I mean, the number at some books opened up at 1.5. I think you guys opened up at 2.5. Have you seen much action on the game yet from a sharp perspective, or are they waiting?
We've actually seen sharp action, everything involving 2.5 and changing the price on it, where initially when we opened at 2.5 flat, we saw sharp action lay it. And then we had some sharp action take plus 2.5 even to get us back to 2.5 flat. So you have different sharp groups playing it on 2.5 right now.
Interesting. Do you think we'll get to 3? Is that possible?
I don't think that's going to happen. You might see forms leaning that way of 2.5, but I think if it's a form anywhere near 3, even dog 20, that would be snapped up. I think it's going to be 2.5 with a price. It wouldn't surprise me if it even went down to 2, but I don't think it's going to get to anywhere near 3 flat again.
How about the total in the AFC game being 42.5? It to me, it feels like an under game. I'm not going near it just because of Drake May's potential to put up points on the road. They've been such a high scoring offense on the road, but what are you seeing from a total perspective in the AFC game?
Yeah, we opened at 40.5 and thinking in line of, how much do people expect Stidham to put up points with Denver's team total being 17.5. But the Sharps quickly played that over, got us from 40.5 all the way up to 42.5. And, we know the public likes to be involved with the over twos. So it looks like 42.5 might be the steady bottom point. I see some even 43 showing up now.
Yeah. So you would expect that number to potentially climb, but before kickoff? Slightly,
if that. I don't. It's already made a 2-point jump, which is a large jump in this case. So I wouldn't expect like 44 or anything, but I could see it touching 43 and wavering in this range.
The NFC total is really wild to me because the first matchup, it was a pretty ugly game for Sam Darnold. He threw a ton of interceptions. They still had a kick at the end to win the game on the road. And then they came back to Seattle and it was an absolute barn burner up and down the field, 70 points in that game. What are you seeing from a 47 perspective? Are people expecting a more like the first game or the second game?
They're expecting lower scoring in this one. We opened 47.5 down to 47. And, it's just like in the NBA playoffs too. When you get to the playoff portion, you expect the lower scoring, the defenses to tighten up more, and you see a lower total than traditionally you would see in the regular season. So it wouldn't surprise me. I've seen some 46.5 start to show up. So you're going to see more under support from the Sharps.
Interesting. In the futures market, is there any big red number that you have on any one of these 4 teams that are left?
The Rams, we lose on the Rams, have liability on them, win on the other 3 teams. So we're, massaging that number right now, trying to write some Denver, who we have at over 13-1.
I was talking about the Exacta markets. I know you guys do that as well. I mean, just for you personally, how do you feel about that market when it comes to before the games are played on Sunday to take some shots in the Exacta market?
Yeah, that's one thing that's been more popular over the years. We wrote a ton of action on that. And it's been throughout the season. We continue to do so. And we're seeing a lot of involvement in the Rams with that market. And that's where some of our liability lies too. But the public really likes to get involved with that.
All right. We have a fight card here in Vegas on Saturday night. So not only do we have the games on Sunday, but we've got a fight card with UFC 324 happening. What did you guys see overall from and just kind of a generic question, but I felt like, at least for my stuff, my content in my audiences, that once the UFC made the announcement that they were ending pay-per-view and the ESPN deal was up and they were going to Paramount Plus, that people really, I don't want to say they stopped watching it, but they kind of stopped betting it in October, November, and December. How did the year close for you guys from a combat sport perspective?
Well, we saw something similar, but for us, that has a lot to do with football season and people shifting their money into that market. And we expect it to pick up now that people can get this on Paramount without having to do the pay-per-views. So we're expecting a lot of handle on this card this weekend. And for the main event, the Pimblett fight, we're going to be using reduced juice on that too on fight day.
Whoa, okay. So you guys have minus 240 on Patty to beat Justin Gaethje here on Saturday night. What type of action are you seeing so far in this market? Or is it the public taking the dog and the pros taking the favorite?
Well, we got sharp money initially. We opened minus $2, and we're up to 240 on that one. And the sharp money we've seen so far is on Song Yadong against O'Malley at plus 200 to get us down to plus 170. That's very respected action on the dog there.
Interesting. So, So by the time we get to fight night, you guys will need O'Malley?
We're going to try to put ourselves in position to need that side.
Okay. I like that. That's going to be, look, I'm excited to have it back in Vegas. I mean, people have talked about, the death of Vegas on the nonsense that's been in the social media components about it. But I think this is a good card. How much can you, I don't know if you quantify it, but not having the Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunes fight obviously would have brought a lot of folks to the window. Not having that fight, how much could that impact the handle on Saturday night?
It will to some degree. People were really looking forward to that one, and we had action on it before we had to refund it. So
Okay.
you on there, it would have increased the handle overall on it considerably.
Okay. I want to ask you about the NBA a little bit, because I think this is going to be the transitional period, right? Where we're only down to 3 more football games. So now we got to find the other things to gamble on, the other things to watch and pay attention to. How much money did you guys take in the summer, and how much money have you taken on OKC to repeat? Is this a bad outcome for you, or did folks take shots on other teams because of how dominant OKC could have been this year?
Yeah, we've got money on other teams other than them. When we opened them at 5-2, that's something people have to consider, is tying up their money for that length of time at that short of odds, and we didn't see too much of it. And then based on their play out of the gates, how well they started, they reached minus money at one point. They're sitting at even money right now, but they're one of our better positions, and they were last year too. So we've got liability on some of the contenders around them, most notably Denver, and they're easily in the second spot at this point. But okay. Oak City is probably good for most books.
How about the Spurs, who have had their success against the Thunder? And obviously, they have an alien that plays for them. They came here to Vegas for the cup, and they wound up, getting winning the NBA Cup. What do you make of the San Antonio Spurs, and what are you seeing from an action standpoint in their future market?
I've tried to be aggressive on them, especially the first week that I saw out of them during the regular season. I got involved myself. I bet them at 55 for the title and 30 conference, and I thought they had a lot of room to grow over the second half of the year, which they've done, and we haven't even reached the second half yet. So they still have more room to grow. And right now they're third in the title odds. And then we saw what they did to Oklahoma City, winning 3 out of the 4 games so far. So definitely have to be considered a title contender. And my position was just, if you can make it to the Western Conference Finals against Oak City, I got all that room to work with. So I definitely respected them out of the gate. And, it's going to be a battle between those two for the years to come.
Yeah, I can't wait. And look, we saw it here in Vegas. We're going to see it. Hopefully we'll see it for 7 games in the regular in the playoffs this year. What do you make of the Western Conference, though? Because I'm assuming you guys are similar, where you got to go down to the 4th or 5th option to find an Eastern Conference team that is in the marking. Oh, did we lose Jeff? Uh-oh.
Here I am.
Your camera went off. Did you get a call?
I did.
Happen this time. Oh, hold on. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Yeah, I can see myself in the video, but yeah.
Oh, hold on. Let's see what happens if I do. Nope, that didn't work. Look at that. Technology is great till it doesn't work. Why don't you jump back out and jump back in on that with that same link?
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, that should help with that. We'll just go ahead and we'll just remove him on that, and then put Jeff back on when he comes back, because technology is a pain in the neck when it doesn't work. That's really kind of frustrating on that, because I am curious about the Eastern Conference against the Western Conference. There's so many things that happen in the futures market that I think is fascinating in the NBA, because it's like an NBA game. It just goes like an up and down into these like wild swings. And OKC they were off to such a good start that we wound up sitting there and literally saying that they were going to wind up. Device is not connected. I wonder why that isn't working. Let's see if the camera. Oh, there we go. We're back. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome. Great. We got you. I was asking about the Eastern. Oh, no. What happened now? No one likes us.
Oh,
You
boy.
were there, and then you weren't. I don't know why that's not being our friend today. Well, let me ask you this, because I can hear you, so I'll ask you this on the way out. How likely is it that an Eastern Conference team is going to win the championship?
Not too likely, in my opinion. I think there's only the 3 teams out of the West, really, to myself, that can get out of it, being OKC, Denver, San Antonio. I'd have a hard time seeing anyone else come out of the West. The East is pretty wide open, but you see what the numbers Oak City just laid at Cleveland and thrashed them, and how they take these other teams seriously. And, Denver at a whole, too, would be a large favorite. So there's such a drop-off, but, there's a handful of teams that can get out of the East, and there might be some that might be representing the East not too well against those top tiers in the West.
What about the Magic, who I've been really high on this year? Are they a sleeper in the East?
I don't think they are. I've seen a lot of trouble out of them this year. It's they went through some injuries last year, and they've been doing the same thing this year, but they've been more on the disappointing side to me. And I have them right now equated with Philadelphia, which, I still don't think they're in title contention. They can be competitive throughout, but there's definitely a few teams ahead of those guys.
All right, finally, my Celtics. How do you feel about the Tatum situation? If he comes back, what does that do to the market?
Yeah, it's. The market is already pretty short on him. It's incredible with the start that they've been doing without him. You have to give credit to the coaching staff and Jaylen Brown and the supporting cast. And you see these videos of him trying to play through it and get ready for it. And that would definitely. They're right near the favorites at this point, so they would be the favorites out of the East if he returned in any fashion, just contributed even a few minutes off the bench. But I still don't think off an injury like that, it's in their best interest to push him this year, even if he thinks he's ready.
Yeah, I think he plays by Easter. That's been my prediction for him to come back. We'll see if it's a smart move or not by Boston. But, Jeff, thanks for bearing with us. I appreciate the time. Have a great weekend. Should be an awesome time at the Super Bowl coming up this weekend for Saturday and Sunday.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
That is Jeff Sherman from the SuperBook joining us here on the Bostonian versus the Book. Sorry about the technical difficulties to Jeff, and to hopefully I appreciate him sticking around. I don't know. That's the first time that's ever happened where the video doesn't work, but the audio works. So we're able to do like an audio interview and get some NBA stuff going with Jeff. But interesting stuff out of what's going on here with the Sharps on Song Yadong here for the co-main event on Saturday night. I'm headed over to T-Mobile later this afternoon to watch the press conference. That's going to be interesting to see how those two guys, when they square off, what the size could be here for O'Malley, who has talked about the fact that this could be it if he does wind up losing this fight to Song Yadong in the middle of his career, that he may never fight for a title again. And we know that Justin Gaethje is going to walk. If Gaethje loses, Gaethje's going to walk for sure on Saturday night if he does not get the interim lightweight title coming up here on Saturday night against a fighter in Paddy Pimblett, who is a heavy favorite. I mean, you heard from Jeff. They took sharp action at -$2. They're now at -240. So there's a lot of people that think that the younger grappler is going to be able to take out the older stand on your feet and bang fighter in Justin Gaethje. But Saturday into Sunday, it's a really good sports weekend, and this is a really good betting weekend. I'm going to UFC 324. I haven't covered a UFC fight in a really long time, so I'm really excited to get over there and to check it out and to have some fun with it and just to be around the event. There is nothing like a fight card in Vegas, whether it be boxing or MMA. There's just nothing like it. And the energy and the electricity and just being around the UFC production. If you haven't ever gone to a UFC fight, I can't really explain to you how cool the in-arena production is. They do an incredible job of keeping the energy. Like, they just redline you all night, right from the start. And whether it be Bruce Buffer, you hear it in our intro every day, but it's just excitement. It's mainlining excitement, and they have mastered what it is to go to an event and to put on the production of the UFC. The TV is awesome as well. I mean, the TV production is tremendous, but being there and watching the fighters walk out and listening to the crowd and listening to the intensity, like there is nothing like a sporting event, a hockey game, a basketball game, a football game. But when a fighter gets dropped in the UFC, that roar that percolates through the entire building when a fighter gets dropped is insane. Like that noise of, it's not that the fighter gets hit, the fight's great, right? Like the connection, it's like, okay, a fighter gets cracked. It's the falling down and the reaction of the crowd that does it, because it's this crescendo of sound that comes and just percolates all the way up to the rafters of the realization of like, oh my gosh, this fight might end. And I'm 48 years old. I didn't grow up. I didn't live in Athens. I didn't live in Rome. I didn't live in the time of the Colosseum. I didn't live in the time where you had the gladiators fighting, but I can only imagine that's what it was like for human beings watching a combat sport, watching two humans fight, and then one human fall, and the reaction from the crowd. It is wild. It is animalistic in some ways, but it's so fun. Like it really is a fun moment and a really cool moment. So we'll see what happens here on Saturday night. Good card. I mean, really good card. We'll make some bets tomorrow. I appreciate yesterday Brendan Fitzgerald putting us on to the heavyweight on the prelim, the Josh Hokett kid. Okay. I mean, I'm interested. I very well might be involved with something with that kid in that fight coming up. And I really want to see him tonight. Like today, I don't make UFC bets until after they weigh in on Friday morning. So I want to see what they're going to, obviously who misses weight is a big deal. Heavyweights don't miss weight. So, I mean, unless they have a really big problem, like you should be getting under 265. You shouldn't be like, come on. But I do always wait because you never know. Like it's a good indicator as to whether or not the fighter has taken the camp seriously and the fighter is in proper shape. So, I always wait. And then once we get that, then I'm betting it on Friday afternoon and we're getting into Saturday for the fight. So we'll get the weigh-ins tomorrow. We get the final press conference today. And then the fight card happens on Saturday. Really, really good stuff. Good stuff on Saturday night at Paramount Plus, and then right into Sunday for the AFC and NFC Championship games. It's an awesome sports weekend. You got college basketball and the NBA on Saturday, hockey as well. And then you got the card at night. Earlier start time than normal, by the way. Remember, the UFC has bumped this up a whole hour early, which I think is going to take some time for folks to get used to. The main card has started at 10 o'clock Eastern time for as long as I can remember that we've seen 10 p.m. Eastern main card pay-per-view. It's 9. It's a 9 o'clock start time for the pay-per-view Eastern time. That's 6 p.m. here in Vegas. That means the early prelims start at 1. It means the prelims start around 4. Like this is a different type of card that I am very curious to see what time does this thing end? Because it might actually end before midnight. The whole card might be over before midnight. It might even be over at 11, which if you're an East Coast person, you're ecstatic. You may actually be able to be awake. So that could be cool. That could be cool. Oh, Hokie is plus money, sub KO. Okay. I have to take a look at that market. I haven't looked at the markets yet. That's pretty cool. We'll do that. Let's go and jump down the rabbit hole. Down the rabbit hole we go, being brought to you by our friends at Rabbet. We say Rabbit fast, but Rabbet. You guys can get 5 free Rabbit cash dollars by using the code Rabbit when you sign up with Rabbet. Rabbit's the first true peer-to-peer sports picking marketplace. They are the Venmo for your sports stakes. Everyone's got group chats and talking trash with your friends. Rabbet lets you back that up with real action. They have gotten rid of the house entirely. So instead of fighting an algorithm designed to take your money, you create the offer, you set the line, you challenge your friends directly. It's social, it's fair, and without the heavy vig, it's the only place where you can truly make your hunches happen. The house is designed to always beat you. Rabbet is designed to let you enjoy the fun of beating on each other. Traditional sports books have set the line so they win. Rabbet, there is no vig. Check it out with Rabbet, their unique promotional HQ, which is very cool, is a free-to-play contest situation sponsored by major brands, influencers, and celebrities where you guys can win gear and discounts just for knowing your sport. So you'll be checking out the promotional HQ in the very near future, but sign up with Rabbet. Rabbet 5 gets you 5 free Rabbet cash at sign up at Rabbet. You can download the app in the Google Play or the Apple Store today. Let's take a look here and go through the futures market a little bit when it comes to, and something you can do on Rabbet. Right now, the MVP vote has been cast. The NFL knows who won. That's how they've gotten to the 5 finalists. They know who will win. So now that we have Coach of the Year and NFL MVP finalists, we're not able to bet on it anymore because somebody somewhere knows. So the books have all pulled it down. You have 5 finalists that really it's coming down to just 2. May versus Stafford. That's what it feels like. But it might not be. I mean, human beings, could do weird and strange things. So it's Trevor Lawrence, Christian McCaffrey, Drake May, Matthew Stafford, and Josh Allen. I can't believe Josh Allen's even a finalist, but he is. Okay, fine. Trevor Lawrence, they won the South, 13 games, 4,000 yards passing, 29 touchdowns, 12 picks. McCaffrey was McCaffrey again, doing everything he could with 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Drake May, over 4,000 yards passing, 31 touchdowns, 8 picks. Patriots are in the AFC Championship game. Drake May led the NFL in passer rating and completion percentage. And then Matthew Stafford led the NFL in yards and touchdowns, only 8 picks. He had a passer rating of 109.2, first team All-Pro for the first time in his 17-year career. And it does feel like Matthew Stafford is finally going to get his first MVP award because it's an earned award, career award. It's not just this year. It's that he's never won it. And so now it's time for Matthew Stafford, who by far is playing with a much better cast around him than Drake May is. I don't think you can argue that point, that the receivers that are playing for Los Angeles are way better than the receivers playing for the Patriots. So you look at, he's got 2 Hall of Fame wide receivers, okay? The Patriots have none. Just that right there, I would give Drake May the MVP off of that. But most books don't have this market up anymore. So if you do want, you can go to Rabbet and you can make this and say, hey, you're a Drake May. You believe Drake May is going to win this thing. You think the voters are going to see that he played with such a different cast than what Stafford played with. Then you can go in and put that market up and see if anybody takes it, set your odds, set your price, and go off, and see if anyone takes it. Same thing with Matthew Stafford. If you think that Matthew Stafford is going to win, you can go ahead and put it up at Rabbet as well and say, okay, I think Stafford's going to win because it's an award that he has earned over 17 years and he finally gets to be the MVP. That's where I am leaning. I'm leaning on human beings doing stupid things because it's why I don't bet this market. I don't bet the MVP. I don't bet the Coach of the Year because I don't trust humans to do the right thing. I think humans, when it comes to voting on this stuff, are influenced by all sorts of outside things and not really what the award is supposed to be. Most valuable, it's earned. It's Mike Trout winning the MVP on a team that has a losing record. Like, we've just seen things in the history of voting that makes absolutely no sense to me. And it's why I don't get involved financially, because I don't trust them at all. Coach of the Year is equally difficult to predict because Coach of the Year feels like it's wide open. And you can do the same thing by making this market. But Coach of the Year, Liam Cohen with the Jaguars, unbelievable job this year. Ben Johnson with the Bears. Really hard to argue what he did to turn that franchise around. Mike McDonald with the Seahawks. They're 14-3. They're the number 1 seed. They're hosting the championship game. Kyle Shanahan, with all the injuries, it may have been his best coaching job, which I have talked about that before with other awards where I thought Bill Belichick should have won Coach of the Year because of what he overcame so often with the injuries and the issues with the Patriots. But no, it's almost always a coach who has his team in the AFC or NFC Championship games that will win it, and Mike Vrabel does. He won the award in 2021. Worst to first, 10-win turnaround. Patriots have 3 losses and 16 wins this year. Their win total, he's doubled it as to what people thought. 7, 8, 9 wins, the potential. Patriots have got 16 wins, trying to get their 17th win coming up on Sunday. I have no idea who wins that award. I think you can make a really strong case for anybody. Anybody. Oh, that's a cool text. Huh. I'll talk about that here in a second. So I think anybody could win that. Okay. I think anybody could win this. Of the 5 that are there, I don't think there's a definitive answer as to like who wins. Mike McDonald wins the award. Kyle Shanahan wins the award. Like, I think you all can make really good cases because, you know, Kyle Shanahan with all the injuries and having them go into a divisional round is insane, right? It is insane. I think the coaching job that Kyle Shanahan did was the best coaching job he's ever done. So I could easily see giving it to him. I have no problem. Mike McDonald doing what he did with Seattle with the number 1 defense in the NFL and making Sam Darnold after there was a lot of questions. Well, Darnold was great with Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings. So it's a quarterback under a coach, not the quarterback. Well, Sam Darnold goes to Seattle and does just as well. In fact, now playing with a chance to go to the Super Bowl with Seattle because the defense is better for Seattle than it was for Minnesota. So now there's that conversation going around him, best coach on the best team, right? So he wins. I think Mike McDonald can easily win it. Mike Vrabel, the media likes him, right? I mean, he's a popular guy, and don't underestimate popularity when it comes to this vote as to who may win. I just think Liam Cohen, even the job he has done, I think it took people a real long time to figure out the Jaguars, right? It was a second half run. The beginning of the year was awful. And then he did an amazing job in the wake of losing your top pick. You know, you draft a guy in the top 5, he blows his knee out. And after that happened, things started to go kind of in the right direction for the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence over the last 8 games was amazing thanks to Liam Cohen, but I don't think start to finish, I don't think he'll win the award for that reason. So to me, I think it comes down to McDonald, to Shanahan, and to Vrabel. And I think there's going to be a lot of love in the market for Mike Vrabel. I think given where the NFL writers live in major markets, given the Patriots brand, and the fact that I don't think Drake May is going to win the MVP, I think Mike Vrabel is going to win the Coach of the Year award for that reason. Now, is it correct? I mean, again, this is eye of the beholder stuff. And I think Roger's right. We're all partial to humans. Being humans is the biggest flaw. Yes, we're all going to be partial to the people that we like. We're also going to have massive recency bias. I think in terms of what we have seen, I think a lot of us, it's how much did we follow, right? Like Liam Cohen, nobody was talking about Liam Cohen because I think Ish is correct. The way he said Duval in his introductory press conference freaked everybody out. And everyone went, you're not going to be successful. Now, was that right? Of course not. But that kind of turned everybody off of Liam Cohen until they started to win. And it's like, wait, you're the coach of an AFC South team and we got to pay attention to you? And the answer was yes. So I just think the ball got rolling too late for Liam Cohen. Shanahan, it was just one injury after the next. And I think if Kyle Shanahan had won in week 18 over the Seahawks, I think he wins the award. If they were the 1 seed and they had won the West, which would have happened if they had defeated the Seahawks on the road in week 18. If that it was at home. Sorry, the game was at home against Seattle. If he had won that game and won in week 18, I think Kyle Shanahan's your coach of the year. But he lost that game. And thus he had to go on the road. He had to go to Seattle instead of hosting Seattle. They had to go to Seattle and they got trounced. Now the voting had already concluded by the time they went and played Seattle in the playoffs and lost 41-6. So that game doesn't factor in to the Coach of the Year award, but Shanahan did an incredible job. I mean, just an absolutely incredible job dealing with all those injuries. And Robert Saleh did too, for that matter. And that's why he's going to be the new head coach of the Titans, because of the job that he did by overcoming, the Nick Bosa injury and the Fred Warner injury and everything else that they dealt with. It was just one thing after another. And, then the Brandon Ayuk thing happened and that team could have fallen apart and they didn't. Mac Jones came in and Mac Jones quarterbacked the team for 5 games and went 4-1, I think, did a really good job. So that is obviously in the conversation, but Drake May not winning the MVP, I think voters will say, okay, I'm not voting for Drake May. I'll vote for Mike Vrabel. And that's kind of the constellation for Drake May not winning the MVP. I don't like it. And yeah, going from 4-13 to 14-3. Yes. I mean, you can justify it. I'm not saying Mike Vrabel doesn't deserve it. I just think in terms of would Mike Vrabel want to win Coach of the Year, or would he want Drake May to win MVP? I think 100% he would want to win MVP, want May to win MVP. And again, if I was voting, I would say Drake May is the MVP because of the cast around him. But I've been watching this long enough to know what human beings are going to do, and they're going to give it to Matthew Stafford because they never have before. And so they're going to say, well, Drake May's got years left. And if Drake May is good next year, Drake May will win the MVP next year. But this year, Matthew Stafford's 37 years of age. He keeps on doing incredible things. He threw for the most yards. They didn't win their division, by the way. Just, can we point this out? The Rams didn't win their division. The Rams did not get the number 1 seed. The Rams have not hosted a playoff game at home. And yet he's the MVP. Okay. I mean, okay, I would agree, JC. If we're going to be honest, Josh McDaniels deserves Coach of the Year. Sure. I think he'll win. I think McDaniels will win Assistant Coach of the Year. Hold on. Let me pull up the market. Because Assistant Coach of the Year is Vic Fangio, Brian Flores, Vance Joseph, Clint Kubiak, and Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels should 100% win that. Okay. In terms of who wins the Assistant Coach of the Year, it should be Josh McDaniels. I don't think there's much of a conversation there. Comeback Player of the Year is Trevor Lawrence, Christian McCaffrey, Stephon Diggs, Aiden Hutchinson, and Dak Prescott. That's going to be Aiden Hutchinson. He's going to win that. Defensive Player of the Year is Will Anderson, Nick Bonito. How do you say Bonito? I always kill his name. Myles Garrett, Aiden Hutchinson, and Micah Parsons. It's going to be Will Anderson. He's going to win. Offensive Player of the Year is a little bit different. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba wins that. It's May, McCaffrey, Puka, Bijan. Well, Bijan maybe. Yeah, okay. That's tough. Bijan or JSN. Huh. And Puka too, I guess. I mean, I guess Puka could be 129 catches for 1,700 yards and 10 touchdowns is pretty darn good. 119 passes for JSN. He had more yards than Puka did. He had 10 touchdowns. Bijan, though, 2,298 yards from scrimmage, 7 touchdowns running, 4 touchdowns receiving. Yeah, that would be. I'm voting Bijan if I'm at. Puka wins it. Yeah, I think Myles Garrett wins it because I forgot about that. He set the record. Yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'll give you that, guys. This is do you think voters care about this stuff? That it was a cupcake division. It doesn't matter if it was cupcake. Trevor Lawrence and you want to talk about cupcake divisions? What are you talking about? You have also. Yeah, I thought Will would win it, but I think Myles Garrett is going to get it. In terms of stats wise, Will Anderson had an amazing season. He had an amazing season. 12 sacks, number one ranked defense. But Myles Garrett, I mean, obviously he set the single season sack record at 23, 33 tackles for a loss. He was the 2023 AP Defense Player of the Year. He'll win it. I'm not sure he deserves it, but he'll win it. I think, I mean, you're playing with the Browns, okay? Like, so the Browns were bad. Great players on bad teams. They play with different intensity, different stress levels, and different attention. But Myles Garrett will win it. Yes, I do believe that Myles Garrett will win it because of the fact that Myles Garrett set the record for sacks in a single season. So he'll get that. Defensive Rookie of the Year is Abdul Carter. I don't know. He'll probably win it. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jackson Dart probably wins that. Although Emeka Egbuka, I don't know. Maybe I might give it to Egbuka. Jackson Dart, because he's a quarterback, played well. But I think I'm probably going to give it to Egbuka. He was awesome. I mean, he was gigantic for that Bucs offense. Egbuka was, I thought he got tired down the stretch. He became less of a factor after the injuries to the receivers like Mike Evans. You know, defenses tended to key in more on Egbuka, but his ceiling next year, so I think he probably, I mean, that's where I would vote for. I thought Egbuka was tremendous coming up on that. So the markets are down. You can't bet this because the voting is concluded and somebody knows something. I don't mind McMillan winning that. Stats wise, there's no stats on that, but let's see. McMillan, 70 catches for 1,114 yards, 7 touchdowns for the Panthers. And you've got Egbuka had, you're probably right, 63 catches, 938 yards, and 6 touchdowns. So McMillan had more yards, more catches, and more touchdowns. So you're probably right. It's probably going to be McMillan that will win that. Oh, good ticket. Tickets on Puka, Offensive Player of the Year, May Lawrence, Stafford, MVP, Vrabel, Cohen, Coach of the Year. Again, I think your Vrabel ticket's good. I think Vrabel's going to win. I think Stafford's going to win the MVP. I don't know about the Offensive Player of the Year, though. I think that's a debate. Puka could win it. He absolutely could win it, but I don't know. Is Warren a good choice? I loved his rookie season for the Colts, but he's not even a finalist. Offensive Rookie of the Year is Jackson Dart, Egbuka, Henderson, McMillan, and Tyler Shuck are your finalists. Tyler Shuck might steal it. That has to be at least acknowledged, that Tyler Shuck, with the way he played down the stretch, that he could actually win it. He could win it because of the way he played down the stretch. That would be wild. That would be wild if he wound up winning it, just given the way he performed. He was an under machine. Saints were awesome to bet unders on all season long, especially after Tyler Shuck got going. Let's make some bets. All right. If you want to fade all these plays, go right ahead. I can't. I'm on a 4-day ice, like the ice that's going to be falling across the South for the next, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I am ice betting. Just the Picks being brought to you by the Prop Bet Cheat Sheet. You guys can go and download the Betting Pros app, check out the Prop Bet Cheat Sheet, or log on to bettingpros.com/props for all their projections for NBA player props for tonight. I'm doing a 2-leg moneyline parlay in the America East. This is how bad I am right now. Vermont has won 7 straight games against UMass Lowell. I've told the story about UMass Lowell before and Pat Duquette and everything else. They are not good this year. But Vermont laying 4.5 points on the road, not really interested in laying. That feels heavy. So Vermont to win. On the other side, UMBC against NJIT. UMBC is laying 8.5 points at home. I just need them to win. This is an even money 2-leg moneyline parlay. You want some college basketball? There you go. You want to fade that? Go right ahead too. I've been ice cold. This number has been steamed like crazy. I got 229.5 last night. It's 227 now. Magic are an under team. I know. I mean, I like the Magic more than most people do, but this is like, I was stunned. I got up this morning and I was like, wait, what? Charlotte last night played and could not hit the broadside of a barn to save their life. I was involved in a prop bet in that game last night. So people are thinking that back-to-back bad news for Charlotte. Shut the ball poorly last night. They're going to shoot the ball poorly against Orlando tonight. I'm on under 229.5 for the Magic and Charlotte. And then finally, I'm on over 6 for the Wild and the Red Wings. The Wild are 9-1 to an over their last 10 games. Red Wings are a team 6-4 over the last 10 games to an over as well. We should see some offense here from Minnesota and Detroit. Wild are also a first period over team. They're a goal in the first 10 minutes team. You can get involved with all that, but I'm just going to go with the over 6 for the Wild and the Red Wings. That was at even money that I got last night. We will do some more in bonus time, but if you guys are watching on the replay on SportsGrid TV, thank you for being here. Back tomorrow. Thank you to Jeff Sherman from the SuperBook for coming on in and helping us break down the games on Sunday. Adam Bjorn tomorrow on a Bet Chris Arizona Friday for BVB. Bonus time starts now. Yeah, sorry, man. You've been tailing my early picks. Sorry, Thomas. Not been good. It's been a rough one. It's been a rough couple of weeks. And I normally try hard. I try hard not to allow my betting to impact my mood. It's something that if you look at like that pamphlet that they hand out at the book, like the when the winning stops being fun or when it stops being fun, whatever the tagline is. One of the things that it recognizes is like, is your gambling affected your mood? And if your gambling is affecting your mood, you should be wary of that and aware of that. And normally I'm pretty good, but when it starts to get to be like, I lost on Sunday, I lost on Monday, I lost on Tuesday, I lost on Wednesday. When you start having that type of 4-day run, it starts to impact my mood. I told you on Tuesday that after what happened with the Spurs collapsing against the Rockets, and it was, I love waking up in the morning and seeing the headlines, Rockets, epic comeback against the Spurs. I'm like, yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. And it's like pissing me off beyond all belief. Like it gets frustrating. You just have to go put your mind somewhere else. So I went out on Tuesday and just, hung out with some guys, hung out with Steve from Malabe and, just kind of got my mind away from everything. And so like last night, I just had to laugh. I don't know if you guys saw the show yesterday, but I had to laugh. The Richmond loss, I had to laugh. Richmond, and I was smart enough. I hedged out of it. I took a plus 3.5 with 3 minutes to go. Richmond was laying 3.5. I laid 2.5. They had the basketball, and I went ahead and said, I'm not getting burned again. And lo and behold, Richmond misses free throw after free throw after free throw, and they lose the game outright to Rhode Island. They had a 75% chance of winning the game with 1:18 to play in the game, and they lost outright to Rhode Island. Like, that's just the way things are rolling for me right now. Like, that's how ice cold I am. It's just bad beat after bad beat after bad beat. And so last night, at least I was smart enough to pay attention and being like, I'm getting out of this game. I'm not having my heart broken again. I'm taking 3.5. I didn't take money line, but I took 3.5, and that got me out of the laying 2.5 with Richmond last night. So now tonight, I'm like, fine, we're betting money line, and I'm just going to do a 2-leg money line parlay. And Vermont generally owns UMass Lowell. UMass Lowell has not been good in American East play this year, and UMBC is a big home favorite against NJIT. So that's how I bet college basketball tonight. It's an even money play, and but again, if you want to fade me, I'm not angry about fading me at all when it comes to all this, but it is it's not been good. Breaking news, but not news to anyone but us. Thursday next week, 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today, I'm in New Orleans. 2 weeks from today, I'm in San Francisco. Devin Hester, you Bears fans, Devin Hester has just been confirmed as our first official guest on BVB on Thursday from Radio Row. He will be joining us live from New Jersey Institute of Technology. I'm from Massachusetts, JC. I mean, come on now. NJIT is the same as MIT. Remember where I'm from. Devin Hester will be with us live on BVB at 11 o'clock Pacific time in San Francisco on Thursday. So he will be the first official guest on BVB. Thursday, Adam Bjorn will co-host with me. Friday, it'll be Sim Harmon from Cut to co-host with me here on our trip to the Super Bowl for Bet Chris and Cut. Looking forward to that. And also a reminder that these hats are available on the left-hand side of your screen. If your team's in this, if you're a fan of one of the 4 teams, we've got special playoff edition championship betting Corbin designed hats, which are currently on the store by going to thebbbshow.com. I'll be sporting them on Radio Row. Looking forward to all that coming up on Friday. So Devin Hester just being the first to confirm that he'll be with us for Radio Row on Thursday. More to come on that. Yeah, you Bears fans are going to get all excited that we're going to get some. I bet there's going to be a bunch of Bears people stopping by to be part of the program. Just given that Chicago now is back in the conversation, back in the news. So Devin Hester on Thursday to start the at 11 o'clock. We'll go live at 10. We're on from 10 to 12 Pacific. So he'll be at the top of the second hour for us coming up here with that. So let's talk baseball here for just 1 second before we wrap. And the Mets are active. So the Mets went and signed Bo Bichette. They traded for Luis Robert. And now they've traded for Freddie Peralta from the Brewers. And this is a big move here, okay, for the Mets. This is what I wish every team was doing. Go and compete. Don't just lay down and allow everything to go to the Dodgers. Because when I heard that Freddie Peralta was being traded, my first worry was, oh no, is it going to be the Dodgers? Like, please don't tell me. And there were real rumors about the Dodgers trying to acquire a very good pitcher and a guy who's going into a contract year who the Brewers decided we cannot sign him. We're not going to be able to afford Freddie Peralta. So the number 1 prospect in the Mets organization was put up, and another prospect as well. I think the number 6 in the Mets prospect, both of which were expected to be part of the Mets Major League Baseball roster this year of their 40-man. And so the Brewers went and got 2 players they think that will be cheap, controllable, and Major League ready for Freddie Peralta. So they make the trade. I don't love it from a Brewers perspective. It worries me about, if I'm a Brewers fan, I'm like, man, you're giving up a really good player. You're trading away a really talented player. And he goes inside your own, not your division, but inside your own league. I mean, look, 2-time All-Star. He was 17-6 last year, a 2.70 ERA, 33 starts. He had 200 strikeouts. He's had 200 strikeouts, or at least 200 strikeouts over the last 3 seasons. He ranked 10th in the majors among qualifiers with a 3.40 ERA and 3rd in opposing batting average of 210. $8 million is really nothing compared to what he will get on the open market, and he will go to free agency. And you have to think the Mets are going to look to lock him down. So, I mean, the Brewers they're not punting on the season. They just have to keep their payroll down. And the Mets have really overhauled their entire team. They've got Bo Bichette now. They got Luis Robert. Now they're getting Peralta, who's just 29 years of age and has a chance to really help this rotation a lot out for the Mets. I know they're still the Mets, and I know everyone's kind of laughing, saying, hey, it's still the Mets. Yeah, but I give the Mets credit, okay? You've got to, I mean, Peralta is basically their ace now, right? At least one of their top 2 pitchers. Sean Manaea, Cody Senga, Frankie Montes, David Peterson. They need some more, but the offense, now that you go ahead and get Bo Bichette to come in and be part of an infield that needs to be reworked a little bit, but Lindor and Bo Bichette together is pretty impressive from an infield perspective. You let Pete Alonso walk, so that's tough, but sorry for the freeze. That's probably a good call that they're out of the School Bowl sweepstakes, because that would have been a pretty nice landing spot for School Bowl to wind up in New York. He would have okayed the trade. He would have been good with it. So I think that's right. That's a good point, that they are probably out of it. But why is anyone even in it is what would be my question. Why are the Tigers trading the best pitcher in the game? Like, the best pitcher in the game should not be traded. So, but the Mets are, I mean, they can afford it. And my gosh, if they got Freddie Peralta and Tarek Skubal in the same offseason, that's crazy if that were to happen. Plus Bo Bichette. Again, I'm happy that Steve Cohen's doing this. I wish more owners would do this. Like, don't just give the Dodgers their third championship. Get after it. Sign players. Find a way to win. Find a way to compete. Don't be just wallflowers and just saying, we can't do it. It's the Dodgers. Like, come off of it. So to me, like, that signals that the Mets are going to contend. That's great. Do it. You got Bichette, you got Robert, and now you got Peralta. Good. Keep going. Who else? Keep adding, right? Beat the Phillies first, which is not going to be easy, but beat the Phillies first, and then look at the Dodgers and try to match up with the Dodgers in the playoffs. See if you can beat them in a 7-game series. So I love this for baseball that this happened. I hate it for the Brewers. Hate it for Milwaukee because I think he's such a great player. And to trade, you shouldn't be trading away great players. In particular, because he's got $8 million on this contract, you could keep him. It's an admission that you're not going to be able to sign him. So we're getting two very good players. We have to get something for him. So we're trading him a year early than having him walk for free. I get that. But you're not replacing him. If you're Milwaukee, you're not replacing him. So, I mean, I guess you could ask Quinn Priester to do more, but I don't know if Quinn Priester is going to do what he did last year. That was an incredible run that he was on. So it really hurts the rotation for the Brewers. You don't just replace Freddie Peralta. So that's a bummer. Yeah, I mean, fine. Waiting for a lockout, that is happening. It sucks that that's happening, but that is happening. Baseball is going to have a strike and or lockout. We're playing baseball in 26, and we're not playing baseball in 27. I've already resigned myself to that idea that Major League Baseball will be done. We'll be out. We'll be locked out. We'll be on strike, whatever they want to call it, whatever side determines it doesn't work. But I don't think we are getting baseball in 27. Look at everything going on in the world. The NIL in college football, the NIL in college basketball, the NFL with TV ratings, which again just came out in huge numbers for the NFL. Like, there's just so much money in sports right now. The players want a ton more of it. And I hope that they negotiate a floor. I hope we don't talk about a salary cap in Major League Baseball. I want a salary floor in Major League Baseball. If you own a franchise and you want to be an owner of a franchise, you should be forced to spend at a payroll level of some level of significance. 60 million, 70 million, somewhere in that range. So you know that you're able to field a competitive baseball team versus what the Marlins are doing, which is Kyle Tucker has more deferred money from the Dodgers for his deal than the entire 25-man roster will make next year for the Miami Marlins. Like, come on. Like, come on. That's brutal. I don't think it dies. I disagree, Ross. Baseball will never die. It's a 100+ year sport. It's not dying. It'll take a beating. Fans will be pissed, but fans will go back. Fans will go back. But I do think a lockout strike. I don't think we're playing baseball in 2027. I don't think we're playing baseball. Favorite thing about today. Favorite thing about today. It actually is what I woke up thinking. It happened yesterday at the end of my class at UNLV. So I told you guys yesterday, I had my first class at UNLV, and I'm me. So I'm bouncing around like crazy. And there's 20 kids in my class. There were 15. 5 kids had to miss class yesterday for a variety of reasons. For some reason, a lot of them had deaths in their family, which was really awful. But we had 15 kids there. And of the 15 kids, about, I'm going to say 9 of them had taken my class before. So there's only a couple of kids in there who didn't know anything about me, who had never taken a class with me, who had never met me. So for the vast majority of the kids in there, it was sort of par for the course. They've heard my speeches before on the first day of school. But for one kid who was new, who had never heard any of my ranting before, came up to me after class and said, "Can I ask you a question?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Where do you get your energy from?" And I was like, "Huh?" I had never been asked that before. Like, what do you mean? And he goes, "Well, you host 2 podcasts and you do other things. I've seen your resume, and now you come to teach us, and you have all this energy. Where does that come from? Because this is sort of a unique, he was like, for him, his opinion, he was like, this is a unique thing from a teacher perspective. And I proceeded to tell him that I loved when kids would ask me these questions because it's the best reminder of how fortunate I feel and how lucky I am to do what I do, and how even when things are tough and even when things aren't going well, that you get a chance to look at your life and say, okay, would I be doing anything else? Like if I could draw, if someone gives me a magic wand and said, Matt, what you could do anything you want, what would you do? My answer would be this job, would be this career that I have, working for betting pros, doing BVB every day, doing the other jobs, teaching at UNLV. I have created a situation where I don't work. Like I just don't. Nothing I do is work. Nothing I do is, sure, it's stressful, it's strenuous, it's time consuming, it's taxing, all of that, right? Nobody has a perfect day every day. But when a young person asks you, okay, you're going and doing 1,000 things, where are you getting the energy to do all of this? I just told him, I don't work. I'm lucky. I don't have to go to work. Nothing I do, I don't wake up any day and go, God damn it, I got to go do this. I don't do that. I don't have that stress in my life. And I'm not going to undersell that. And I'm not going to waste that, knowing that I have had moments in my life where I've gotten up and I've gone to work where I've had to dip massive amounts of huge pieces of equipment into chrome baths. I've done that. I've had to go and call truck driving companies around the country and try to sell them tracking devices for their tow trucks. Like I've done things where I've been in between jobs where I wasn't working in media and I wasn't working in broadcasting, and I was miserable and I couldn't stand my life and I couldn't believe that the dream was over. Like I refused to believe it. I refused to let it go, even when wives were telling me your career's over. I one of the breaking points in my marriage was that conversation of like, it's time to get a real job. No, no, it's not. It's not time to get a real job. It's time to keep working harder and do more and take bigger risks and do more, because this is what I was born to do. This is what I want to spend every day doing. So having a kid walk up to me, I woke up this morning like just with that conversation in my head, feeling like hopefully I was able to explain to the kid that like dark times are coming. They're always going to be there. It's always about what are you willing to give up for what you want to do? Because I can tell you, I sacrifice a ton to do this job, to do this career. I have, and I continue to sacrifice a ton. It's a trade-off. I'm willing to sacrifice certain things to do this job. Other people would never do that. Other people would say, absolutely not. I would never sacrifice that. I would never give X, Y, and Z. There's all sorts of different things that you could talk about in terms of what do I prioritize? And some people have looked at what I prioritize and they disagree with it and they think it's wrong. Like you put the wrong things, you have prioritized the wrong things. And for certain points of my life, I have. But I've often said that, look, if I'm not good, nobody in my life is going to be good either, including my daughter. So I have to make sure I'm right and I'm good. And when I get to do this, when I get to go from here to physical therapy, from physical therapy to the UFC, to a UFC press conference, and that's my day, is sitting here chatting with you guys for an hour and then posting clips of the show afterwards, and then going to physical therapy and then going to a UFC press conference. Like that's my day today. I get to do that. That's my job to do that. I would be an asshole not to understand how blessed that is, how lucky I am, and how fortunate I am to get to do all this. And when a young person is looking at that saying like, that is what I want to do, or that's how I want to be, that makes me feel fired up. And I feel very lucky, again, to you guys in the audience who allow me to do this, but also just because of the sacrifices that were made for the last 25 years to get me to be sitting here. So tomorrow, Adam Bjorn will join us. It is a Bet Chris Arizona Friday. I don't know where he is. I think he's back in the States, but with the weather coming to the Eastern Seaboard, all of the country, half of the entire population, by the way, will be under a winter warning watch tomorrow. So bundle up, buckle up, and be back tomorrow. We'll get to all the games, breakdowns, bets, and more coming up on Friday. Adam Bjorn on a Bet Chris Arizona Friday tomorrow for Beef.